Everyone, optics matter. What do we mean by that? If I were looking at your role through different sets of eyes, what would I see? For instance, if I were looking at the role of a mid-level leader through the eyes of a CEO, what would I see? Would I always see you hanging around the same people? Would I see the same patterns and behavior in you? If I were your direct report, what would I see? Would I even see you? Are you an office dweller? Would I perceive you as maybe somebody who plays favorites? You've heard me say this before. Mid-level leaders are the center of the corporate universe, and optics matter. Are you aware of how you're being perceived? How do you know? So I like to share a little story or quotes that maybe help solidify the lesson a little bit. So, little sidebar here. I grew up in the Midwest, and one of the field trips we would take would be to Hannibal, Missouri, right along the Mississippi River. For those of you who might not know, Hannibal, Missouri is right on the Mississippi River, and it's the birthplace of Mark Twain. So Mark Twain has an applicable, I can't say the word, a quote that's appropriate for our conversation today. And that is, it ain't what you don't know that's going to get you in trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. This applies as much to self-awareness in leadership as it does to the changing, shifting currents of the Mississippi River. So let's take a deeper dive. By that analogy and looking at ourselves and experiencing self-awareness through the lens, through the optics, through the eyes of the CEO, if I were looking down the hierarchical pyramid to the mid-level leader role, I'm asking myself, are you enabling strategy or are you just managing tasks? I'm asking, do you elevate problems or solve them? Are you developing talent or are you just keeping folks busy? As the CEO, I'm observing patterns. I'm observing you, believe it or not. And I'm wondering, do I consistently see somebody who is seeking visibility or somebody who just shows up when there's something? Do you demonstrate enterprise-wide thinking or are you kind of stuck in your silo? Do you network across the organization or do you always hang out with your own inner circle with your same people? These optics form impressions and perceptions by the CEO. So if you're always around the same peers, if you're always protecting your turf, or you're rarely stepping away from or stepping out of your lane as a CEO, I might perceive you as somebody who's more of a caretaker within the organization than a driver. So think about that. Now, let's switch the telescope and let's talk about how you may be perceived by your direct reports. Do I even see you? Are you somebody who stays locked away in your office, as I like to say, office dwellers, tethered to your email or with such a jam-packed calendar? And that happens where you have back-to-back meetings all day, but none of the meetings are with me as your direct report. So are you somebody who just blows in when there's a crisis for a brief minute or two and then you blow out? No time for conversation, questions, or inquiry. So then I would say, no, you are not visible. Do you play favorites? Maybe you don't think you do, but are your one-on-ones with people on the team equally distributed? Or do you spend more time with some of the same people on the team over and over again and they get more of your time, more of your visibility and your input? Do the same names keep coming up over and over again for plum jobs, for the projects that have more visibility? Are you helping me grow or are you just measuring my output? As a direct report, my perception might be that my director is so slammed, he or she is so busy all the time that they don't even know what I do. Or worse, they do know what I do and they don't care. So optics matter. How are you being perceived? Let's see. Most mid-level leaders feel as though they are visible, present, and fair, but few regularly ask for feedback. The number one thing you can do that would help you get the feedback that you need would be to ask. Ask at all of your one-on-ones, whether that be with senior leadership or that is with your team. Ask for feedback. At the end of the meeting, say, what feedback do you have for me? Or how can I change this or do this better? Ask for the feedback. And then consider it. Practice some self-awareness and see how that fits with you. Another thing would be to, when you're in meetings with others, are you aware of the whole room or are you just focused on a few people, the people you know, maybe people who you resonate more closely with? But as a leader, you want to be aware of the whole room. Those who tend to talk more in meetings, equally be aware of those who don't, those who hold back, those who perhaps are not being heard. So, as Mark Twain again said, on the inside, we're all alike on the inside. This is quote. But how we are seen on the outside, that's what shapes trust, influence, and impact. And that's what you're looking for as a leader in your organization. Several leaders are like the steamboat pilots on the Mississippi River. They don't own the boat, nor do they shovel the coal, but without them, the boat crashes. The river changes, the channels shift, but the pilot of the boat must adapt and be visible on deck. The crew watches, so does the captain, and so do the customers. Mid-level leader today, you don't own the company, nor do you serve on the front lines, but without you, operations fail. Businesses lose staff, they lose money, and they lose customers. But you can adapt and be visible on deck. Your crew is watching, so is senior leadership, and so are the customers. So if you were a character in a Mark Twain story, how would you be seen? Would you be seen as a leader who is present and trusted? Or would you be perceived as somebody who hid behind the curtain and mistook silence for success? How, if you were being seen through the eyes of others, how are you perceived and how do you know? Optics matter. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear if this was helpful for you. And if you have any other questions, please just leave a comment below or shoot me an email.